The objective here is just to be able to explain what a server is, and I'm talking this is a really basic video. So let's start with this. A server is a computer, program, or a device that provides functionality for other programs or devices called clients. To be a server, basically this relationship has to exist. So a really blurry picture like this might look unfamiliar to you, especially if you're just not maybe a super techie or anything, but these are what typical servers look like, though a server can still just be a regular computer that you see. So in that sentence, when it says it's a device, it means it's a computer. You have your input, output, processing, and storage. If those four characteristics exist, input, output, storage, and processing, you have yourself a computer. So here's a bunch of servers, one on top of the other in a rack. And this guy has a little device he's using to take them in and out. But here's another picture of a server. It's kind of like the home lab type server. There's a big community, especially on Reddit, for people who want to create these home labs where, yes, in their home they have a server that is serving the outside world something, or just serving their own house something, like movies and music. So that's the part that gets kind of blurry, like what makes a server and a computer a computer. Like what's the difference between these two words? Essentially, you could have a computer like this that is just called a computer if it doesn't have any internet connection and isn't serving anybody in the outside world. So if you caught that right there, that's what makes a computer a server. It has to serve the outside world something. Now the part that gets a little confusing is this: a server is a computer program. Well, on my computer, I can go ahead and run some software, run an operating system to make it a server. But the details of that is a little bit more than what I want this video to get into. I just want you to be aware of that ability. So taking that original definition, just putting it in my own words, I would say a server provides functionality for clients. So now what is functionality? The best example is the internet itself. If I go on the internet, I'm expecting the internet to serve me the websites I want. So if you don't know this already, maybe you didn't take HTML in school, basically websites are just these folders with many files in them. When I used to teach web design, that was a cool course because students got to understand the simplicity of the internet in that sense. When we say web page, we mean a page of HTML code. And we can whip these up really quickly. They won't be sophisticated, but I sure can show you how to make one real quick. And to drive this home, I think I'll show you what these files look like in PowerShell as I finish. Okay, so you can go to your desktop here. You see I have several programs open, but if I just right click in the middle, go to New, I'll go to New Folder. So this folder is gonna be called my example site folder. If I double click it, it is obviously empty. So if I right click, go to New, I could shoot over to text document, and that's going to not be what I want. I'm going to change this to index and then delete the extension, just make it an HTML thing. And when I push enter, it'll give me this. If you change the name extension, the file might be unusable. Well, since I'm just creating it, that's fine. So now I have this blank HTML document that when I click, it has nothing, okay? So let me exit out. I will right click here, and if I go to open with and go to Notepad, this is just the most simplistic thing I can do. That is use Notepad. There's no fancy colors, nothing like that. Now I went ahead and copied and pasted a skeleton HTML code here just to show you what I mean by saying a website is just a folder with files in it, and I'll demonstrate here how multiple files would work together, and they work together as long as they're in the same folder. So here's some basic HTML code. This is in the body. I could throw in one more thing and say something like, hello world, everybody loves to say that in coding. So I saved it, and now when I double click it, I'm going to see my hello world thing. I have a title called classes, and then I have these hyperlinks that don't work. And notice up here, this isn't the internet. This is my local machine, it's called. So let's exit out of here. I'm going to right click and go through that same process real quick where I create this file, and I understand that was not the best way to create a file, but I don't want to have any distractions here in showing you that a website is just a folder with files in it. So I need to actually open this back up because I forgot the name of this other file I referenced in the HTML. So open with Notepad. Oh, okay. So right here, this code, HTML, it's not a code. Sorry, it's markup language. But right here, it's saying that when click the word CIS 118, go to 118.html. So I have to go ahead and exit out that. I'm going to right click this and I'm going to rename it to 118. There we go. And now let's right click and throw something in there. So open with Notepad again. I can paste in what I did before, and this time instead of hello world, say like, this is just another web page. Save, and then I'll double click index here. Now when I click CIS 118, hey, that didn't work. Let me go back. I'm just testing here. It's not working at all. Okay, wow, so I found the problem. There was just a random ahref right over here. So when I deleted it and I opened it back up, by the way, it wasn't like inside here. I couldn't notice any difference from the first one to the second one. But my point is, okay, let's go here, let's open that up, and now when I click, it says what I wanted it to. This is just another web page. So there you go. We could actually just keep creating files and keep referencing them, and we have ourselves a pretty large website after that. You could use something cooler. You can use a cooler text editor than Notepad, like this VS Code one, so you get all your pretty little colors. You see here, that little guy, line 7, was my mistake from before. So once I got rid of that, everything else, the behavior over here, did what I expected it to do. And if you don't believe me that this is how simple a lot of web pages are, let's go ahead and go to one of my favorite websites, and we can go here and let's right click, inspect element. And so there's all the code, right? But let's go to sources, and we see here little clouds, right? This site's stored in a cloud. We're using a cloud. Well, if I click, I see folders, and then if I click the folders, okay, I see a lot of images. These are images on the site usually, or they're images that will pop up if certain things happen. So I could keep going through the different folders. Sometimes you'll find folders within folders. Here we go, right there. You can find folders within folders within folders. But yeah, everybody, that is what a server is. It is a computer that is holding all these folders and files. So I hope that was impressive there. Now let me show you something I think is even cooler. We'll be using PowerShell because I'm on a Windows machine. But a lot of servers out there are using Linux. So let me take this folder I created, example site, ex site. Make this a little bigger. Okay, so I'm taking this folder and I'm going to put it somewhere I can have easy access to on the command line here. So I'll dump it into a drive. Nope, I don't see it. So let's try again. So this is kind of why I hate GUIs. I'm going to drag and drop into this drive. When I click, I see it right there, right? So notice over here in PowerShell, I'm in the Z drive right there. So if I ls, there's all the folders and files that exist here. And if I cd into that ex site folder, so alright, I hit a few barriers, but I went ahead, and because I'm on my school computer, I made some changes. So instead of putting in the Z drive, I put in the C drive. Hope I didn't say that too fast for you guys. So, right, I went from Z to C as in Charlie. So if I ls, here's all the folders and files there. We'll see my little example one. So cd ex site. All right, now I'm inside there. So if I ls, those are those two files we saw. So if you're watching some of these YouTube networking or CTF or hacker kind of videos, and you see somebody using this command line here to do stuff, okay, this is not complicated. It's just a different way to move around folders and files. And using the command line makes you look like a lead hacker, so. But let's not get confused. That folder is on your local machine, it's on your computer, and if no one can access it, then your computer's not a server. The next trick would be to figure out how to get that folder to everyone else, and then that's a concept called hosting. That's for a whole nother lesson though. Here, you should just know that those folders with the files in them is what a server is offering, and you need a connection to get to it, obviously. So if you're the one being served, you're the client, and in order for this relationship of server and client to exist, both have to play by these rules of the internet, I call them. So for you to learn more about the rules of the internet, not only watching my videos here, but you could read some RFCs. Maybe one more fact for your mind to really internalize what a server is think about like an old one like this, where it has a sticker, and that sticker says, "This machine is a server, do not power down." So a characteristic of a server is that we want our servers to be up almost all the time, like 24/7, like 99.9999% of the time. The better network engineer you are, the better those .999s are. But these are things you'll know in the world of servers. So when I say the internet, which the internet is many things, like banking, if we can identify a service coming from a server, then you're starting to understand the concept. So in this example of banking, the service is you get to see the information of your bank account, but you also have this functionality, this ability to pay your bills. So there's two services right there that a banking website would be serving you. So I came up with this idea. Let's play a game. I'll say the type of service you're receiving, and you try to guess what type of server it's coming from. So for example, when you connect to this server, you're being served the latest updates from your friends. Just kind of like Jeopardy. I give you the answer, you give me the question. So the question could be like, what is Facebook or what is Twitter? These are servers that would be giving you updates from your latest friends. So the usefulness of servers is definitely debatable. So let's try this one. When you connect to this server, you're being served the latest updates from strangers and or celebrities. So in that sense, I was specifically thinking about Twitter. Or at least for me, I have my family on Facebook, or people I know, family and friends on Facebook, and on Twitter, I only follow strangers and celebrities, but I use that more as a learning tool than the Facebook thing. And to be really honest, I don't even use Facebook anymore, for a variety of reasons, but that's actually a whole nother lesson. Let's focus on this one. So your next question, when you connect to this server, you're being served messages that are specifically sent to you, and usually only you. What kind of server can send like messages, but they're only going to you? I'll give you a hint. It used to be what the United States Postal Service was specifically for. Or if you're watching this in another country, the mail people of your country. What's the electronic version of this? Well, it is email, electronic mail. So Gmail, Office 365 servers exist. You got some Hotmail servers, that's a Microsoft thing. Proton Mail brags about the security of their servers. Apparently those particular servers are like 3,000 feet into a rock mountain in the Alps or something. So like those servers are physically secure, I guess. Let's move on to this next one. When you connect to this server, you're being served the results of stuff you searched for. So here I am on a website, I type in something and I push enter. This server is giving me the results of that. So this can include links, short little paragraphs about what's inside each link. We'll make sure to pause here if you want to be answering these yourself, but I'm thinking of Google servers. The picture before was of a DuckDuckGo search service that exists out there as well. Not a lot of people know there's other Googles outside of Google. You could use Bing, but each of these companies need to have their own servers to provide you this service. Okay, almost done here. How about this one? When you connect to this server, you're being served short videos of your friends. So if we're talking about particular short videos, I'm not talking about YouTube servers, which YouTube's owned by Google. I'm thinking more about like the Snapchat servers, maybe if there's a Vine server or Vine app out there with their own servers. Or to see these videos, that data is not like directly coming from that person's phone. It is recorded, sent to a server, stored on that server, and then being accessed by you. And so for our last one here, let's make it a tough one. When you connect to this server, you are being checked to see if the password and username you provided is correct. What type of server is this? Well, in a few of my classes, we go over the concept of an authentication server to authenticate the person trying to log in to another server. So you can have servers behind or in front of other servers. So in conclusion, I've just barely touched the topic of servers here. I just hope you feel good about the word. There's database ones, file ones, mail ones, print ones, web servers, game servers, application servers. We'll study each of these more in depth in future videos and of course in my real life class if you're in there.